And we're back with this episode here called Transgender Hate Mail, Homosexual Hate Mail, Atheist Hate Mail. Basically, me reacting to a bunch of screencasts on YouTube and DeviantArt that are response to comments that I made against the deviant lifestyles and a few other things. Trigger warning: if you don't like what I'm saying, go ahead and click off the video. Don't lie, say hate speech to my videos. Because there is no hate speech to my videos. This speech hate, let's hear the story. We have Ragatha and Promny. Ragatha showing off her beautiful and glorious behind. Promny is jealous. So good. So silly. Let's continue on here. The name is Believe Body. They share the truth. No one else but you made his through lies, deceit. Why lie you behind? Open your eyes through lies. Your arguments are so weak it's laughable, but I have no counter to them. Their selves are weak. I think that to be that you cannot tolerate with people that don't need the same life as you. Instead of being, following God's ways and having a good life, they're having a really horrible life because they're afraid that people will find out that find out their biological sex. So weird. Well, they believe that a person with testicles can't do the things they want to do. A person with ovaries can't do the things that they want to do, even though they totally can. They got it wrong. That's why I fight, because that's how I get people getting things wrong here. They got to help them out. Let's get help them out. Continue on here. The world is not about you only. No, it doesn't. It rolls around truth, reality. So let's go. I'm sure a God with a lowercase g is not fond of your hearsay based on the Bible and actual biology, truth. That's hearsay, right? What we're doing, all this lying, that's not hearsay, right? No, I know it is. Let's see here. Pretending to be all knowing and wasting away a whole year in the comment section by standing against the transgender homosexual atheist lifestyles, and showing off truth that we don't want to see. God's will show us how to people in time. Yep, we will. So we'll help out. Who are you to try to sabotage divine plans involving lying? Let's not define with devilish. God, lowercase g, has created caterpillars whose true forms are butterflies. God has created people's bodies also need to change to reach their true form and get their wings. That's not exactly how it works for humans. Humans grow differently than caterpillars do. Let's go. So it's your guys. Hi, so I've been reading your guys' lies in the comments, and I still haven't reached the end yet. I feel I understand. And your point of view, you'll have to refute it through lies. I understand. I would also like to rephrase my argument with the fact that I am trans, non-binary person. I have three answers for you. I'm lying about my biological fear about what people think of my biological sex. In terms of the amount of I want to transition, I like the partial transition rather than the full one, so a female, most likely a female. Partial usually means they get their breasts reduced. They keep their vulva and ovaries, but they look like men, so they can lie and say they're men. It's not right. Now, your main argument seems to be that dysphoria stems from insecurity. It does. And that trans people need to learn to live their lives. They do. Let me tell you right now, if I was the only person on earth, I would still feel dysphoric because of lies I was told. I would still want to transition through lies. I would still be trans, lying about my biological sex. In addition, if boobs are part of the female body, they are. And if fetus is part of the male body, then that's fine. Why do people feel embarrassed about having them? Because they have to learn to get over that. They learn wrong, have to learn to get over that stuff. They are likely to get more harassment for not having those things if they are of that gender, sex, and no one is making fun of them for having them in the first place. Other people learn wrong and make fun of people for that. Normal stuff too. So it seems really unlikely to me that dysphoria is caused by insecurity, even though it is 100%. Second, you mentioned how some people may believe they are trans because they don't fit the stereotypes. They don't. They do. That's how it is. Every single person does that. No. That's not gender at birth. So I do someone agree with you that people don't have to fit gender stereotypes. At the same time, there are some people who don't fit the stereotypes of the genders they transition, aka the actual gender. For example, another trans friend, female to male, so a girl wants to be a boy, lying saying she's a boy, and it's never going to happen. It's incredibly feminine. She is comfortable wearing skirts and makeup and does so quite a lot. Heck, she is comfortable using she or pronouns. White transition. But that does not stop her from being a trans. You're trans, not fitting in a stereotype. You're assigned gender at birth. Does not make you anything except yourself through lies. Except yourself, but also lying about your Michael sex, so you don't get you basically. What was that one person said? Being perceived as a gender or sex I don't want to be seen as by other people. Is something I don't like. So this person thinks that because they hide them, they basically disguise themselves enough. Maybe they'll be able to trick people into thinking that they are what they want to be. They think, females want to be seen as males, males want to be seen as females, so they can be treated better. As all, yeah. They're like, we don't want equal treatment. We don't want to be treated better. Oh, yeah, you do. Why do you say you're talking about your pronouns then? I was like, come on. Why do you want to go in the boys' locker room if you're born with ovaries? The girls' locker room born with testicles. Why do you want to do that? It's like, it doesn't work. Now, so, just being yourself. I saw you mention that every mind is unique. It is. And therefore, people who are assigned female at birth, females, with brains straight similar to that of brains slash traits similar to that of men. Brains, so it doesn't matter. So that men doesn't make them men. It doesn't. It just makes them themselves. Or just to me, that just leaves me to that question: should they be gender identity is a spectrum? Identity is a spectrum. Yes. Not biological sex. Vulvas are female. Testicles are male. Vulvas and ovaries are female. Penises and testicles are male. So it doesn't work for that. People being themselves doesn't mean that there's a defined gender. There's a defined gender binary. Not gender binary. Biological sex binary. Yes. Means they can express however they want. No, they're not expressed. Express means lying. There's one testicles that says he's a female, or if women are not male, that's lying. There's one that always says that she is a male, man, or not female, that's lying. So now you cannot express however you want. That's wrong. It's really people's brains being unique. Means minds being unique. Means you can never fully understand how minds work. Therefore, you cannot tell the transparent person how their brains work. So should they identify? No, I can. That's the issue. It's basically like this. There's a speed limit. Some people are like, well, people have different types of cars, right? So you can't say that you can't go above the speed limit, right? Yeah, I can. It doesn't matter what car you have. If you go above the speed limit, that's wrong. You're still doing wrong. There's a speed limit. You gotta go by the speed limit. It doesn't matter what car you have. Same stuff here. More testicles, that's a male. More ovaries, that's a female. So you're lying saying you're not what you physically are. That's wrong. Stop doing it. So it says, furthermore, you mentioned that there being two genders of biological sexes, male and female, there are, and they are always your assigned gender or sex at birth. I disagree, because the lies I was told, because sex and gender are not the same thing. It's sociology, mental stuff, psychology, mental as well terms. Sex and gender are two different things. They are, but stop trying to confuse them. Sex is person's biology, but gender, genes and or genitalia and genes. The person was born with. Gender is a cultural social. How the person actually identifies. Yes. And even then, there are two sexes because of lies I was told. Because there's intersex as well. People with deformed male genitals, people with deformed female genitals. So, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Gender, as I previously mentioned, is a spectrum, and people can identify how they feel through lies. Now they can't. Next, you brought up that you think people should accept the bodies that God gave them. They should. Because that's the one you get. You don't get anything else. So there you go. Because they were made perfectly. No, I did not say made perfectly. I said made properly. First of all, not every person believes the same God you do. Who cares? For example, I am atheist, so whatever. Getting it wrong. So all people believe that everything is created perfect. I don't either, but I believe it was created perfect. It was the corrupted by sin. As someone else in these mentioned in Greek mythology, there's a story of Apollo got drunk, created humans with the wrong genitalia. And even other Christians will disagree with this with you because they're wrong. I have a trans friend who's Christian, still has she has been out trans for me about 5 years, lying about her biological sex. Furthermore, you ask why people would change their body if they work perfectly. Now, let me tell you, the human body is not perfect. It works fine. No, it doesn't work perfectly, but it works fine. People have mental illnesses because of lies they're told. Because the chemical imbalances, lies are told to. People have chronic illnesses because of imperfect genetic code. Who cares? You'll get cancer because the human body is imperfect. And there's these chemicals that are in our environment that poisonous to death. You gotta have people to love except they're cancer because they got made that way. Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. Next. That's right. That person is bound who wants to do something about it through lies. A similar thing applies to dysphoria, fear. A person is going to want to deal with it in a healthy way, but or not a healthy way, as transitioning is. I also mentioned how transitioning is beyond your body. It is. Because of that last point. You also mentioned how once someone reaches the transition they will want to achieve, you think they will be to do more. They will. This is not true because of lies I was told. People have transition surgeries in order to stave off dysphoria lies and fear. It doesn't work. It always continues. A girl with one ovaries said she got transitioned, but still dysphoria moved the goal. She said, move the goal. Someone saying, yeah, no, you need to do more. You need to do more. Eventually she's like, yeah, no, shut up. Eventually she's like, yeah, forget it. No, I don't do it anymore. I'm done. That's how it goes. Surgeries in order to save all dysphoria, fear, which you mentioned isn't insecurity because we say it isn't. It is. And people can't just wish away. You can't wish it away. You have to fight it. Your transition, lie. To have a body that fits their mind, that's impossible. You transition that body fits their mind. And to present how they would like to present, that's impossible. You shouldn't do that. That's lying. I'm not sure how you present, and I'm not going to assume that. But I say you prefer wearing trousers to wearing skirts. But if people refuse to allow that, how would it make you feel? Weird. How would you feel if people told you this year to do so because they get about your skirts? Can you wear skirts? Then ending it all. Finally, we'll talk about suicide, ending it all, and how people shouldn't choose to kill themselves because they're not happy with their body. I vehemently agree that people shouldn't end it all. And it was all that's pressing help. But you see